days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in the daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. And with the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I don't know who was supposed to start. We were way off there. So welcome to Rising Tide Talks tonight. And I'm Becky with BK Custom Tees, and I believe it takes a village to run a business.
Awesome. And I'm Kylie Montgomery, and I encourage transformation through positive energy.
Awesome. And I am Aaron Montgomery, and I'm the loud, boisterous one here. So I'm with our success group, and I'm excited. We get an opportunity to do what we love to do, and that's encourage you guys to fall deeper in love with your business. So if you are tuned in, let us know that you're here, and let us know a little bit about your business and where you're tuning in from. So, Kylene, how are we going to roll this today?
Well, we're talking about something I think we all can relate to today, which is overwhelm. But before we get there, I think we should talk about a little gratitude here, and bring some positive energy here. So gratitude is our superpower, as we like to say here. And it's something we can choose. We can truly choose to appreciate the things in our life that we have. And as a result, we get more of that. And we attract more of that to us. So if you guys are listening, please share what you're grateful for today. Aaron, do you want to share first what you're grateful for today?
Absolutely. And I just wanted to quick shout out to Chandler. It says, I'm here, just saved a dog. So I'm going to start with being grateful for that. Yeah. There we go. So Chandler says, I'm thankful for being an animal lover. So animals who are lost can find me and I can return them to their owners. Yeah, that's amazing. So
good job with
that.
Yeah.
Great place to start. Man, so many grateful things. You know what? I am really grateful. I had an opportunity to go to a event today. It's a monthly networking event that I've been going to for the last couple months. It's called E for E, Experts for Entrepreneurs. And it was all about gratitude today. So it was really cool to hear other people that are pretty high level folks that their take on gratitude. The one gentleman that runs the organization talked about how gratitude changed his world, and he was able to really connect, being a business owner. He says, we've all been there, right? You experience that looking over the edge going, this is an interesting look. And for him, gratitude was what changed everything. It allowed him to let go of the worry. And once he let go of that, kind of grease the rails, so to speak. And so I'm like, man, that's what I believe in too. So that was pretty cool. So I'm grateful for that experience.
How about you, Becky?
Well, I have two. This week has just been, it's only Wednesday, but it feels like, I don't know. Yesterday felt like Wednesday, today felt like Tuesday. So I've been like way off, but um, I don't know why. So I am extremely grateful for a Masters of Success group, our mastermind group this week. It was a really good meeting. There was only a couple of us there, but it was a really good meeting. So um, I needed that to start my week off. And the other thing I'm extremely grateful for is a few of the people out there that are willing to share our Summit of Success retreat. We've had a couple good articles and the press release already out there for us. So I'm just grateful that there are people there that are willing to get that shared for us before we even start sharing ourselves. So we'll get that out there into the world. So I'm just grateful for that.
There you go. And if you're curious what Becky's talking about, you can head over to osg.link/SOS and check that out. Summit of Success, or, need a little help in your business, right? So kind of a play on words as well. I thought that was pretty fun name that you guys came up with there. So, Kylene, what about you?
Oh, I have a lot to be grateful for. Today, I'm grateful for the people I have in my network. I had a difficult meeting today, and afterward, I was able to reach out with a partner on the other side of the VA. So we're kind of collaborate together to help a veteran, and then I'm grateful Aaron was there to help me process it a little bit, work through some emotions. So yeah, I'm just really grateful to be able to do what we can do to make a difference when we can. Yeah.
And Kylene, I know you can't give away too many details for the sake of the veteran and whatnot. But what more can you tell us? How can you kind of give us a little more insight into that challenge today, and just again where gratitude came into play for you?
Just grateful that the veteran was able to ask for help and share where they were really at instead of just hiding and not reaching out. So I'm just really grateful that I had some tools that I could share, and the medical side had some tools that they could share, and together I think she's going to be okay. So
That's
Awesome.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
And I think it, interestingly enough, I don't actually believe in coincidences anymore. I'm now understanding that there is no such thing. But if you were to kind of believe in coincidences, right, we're also going to talk today about managing overwhelm. And Becky, help me remember who suggested this last week.
Barb did last week. Yep.
And I think a fantastic topic, especially right now. I don't know, Becky, are you feeling a little bit of that as we head into the?
Oh, it's been a day. So yes.
Kylene had a day.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't get as much done as I wanted to get done today, so I spent a little time this afternoon shooting on myself. And I'm not cursing, by the way, everyone. So do we want to roll into that, unless anybody else has got any other comments that they want to share what they're grateful for? We're always open to that. The more gratitude we can share, that does really, my saying of a rising tide lifts all boats, that gratitude, right? Just Chandler sharing about being an animal lover. It's like, oh yes, love my dog too, right? I love animals. I love just who they are, their being, right? That how that makes me feel, right? So we're pretty lucky to be in a world where we have animals that we can interact with. They don't have the language that we have, but they certainly probably are better at expressing than we are in a lot of cases. So
Most definitely.
anyways, going off there a little bit, but Kylene, how about you? You take us tonight. You get to here. We're going to turn the steering wheel over to you.
Oh boy!
Hold on, everybody.
Are we on the sidewalk or the road?
Yeah, we'll find out. We might be
Okay.
So I guess to start out today, the reason why I think this is such a good topic to talk about right now is we all know we're going into our busy season with the holidays, and then some of us, it's our busy season with orders and So it's important to be aware of how we respond when we're overwhelmed. We all know the emotions and the feelings that that arise. So I guess think about something in your life right now. If you're listening, makes you feel overwhelmed. Like, what is really on your plate right now that's making you feel overwhelmed? Share that with us, and maybe we can walk through that together. But overwhelm happens when we kind of are feeling a lack of control and life's happening to us, not for us. We kind of feel that sense of anxiety increase in our body, and that creates that more negative energy, and not staying in that positive place. So there's ways that we can kind of manage that, and I think we've talked about this probably in all all of our shows. It's really, the number one thing we can do is just write out the things that you have going on and prioritize that list. Erin, I know you could probably expand on that when looking at how to prioritize the level of importance a little bit here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll talk about that real quick too, but I want you guys, because I think we all should. I think we need to be vulnerable here and answer these questions ourselves. But real quick, that whole idea of prioritizing,
Mm-hmm.
what I've discovered for me is that a lot of times we have this feeling of overwhelmed. I've got so many things to do, and oh my gosh, and I've got this list here, this list there, this thing, it just, I think part of the overwhelm is that it's so like unknown, it's so scattered out there. And so I think just that step of taking, occasionally what I'll do, because I do keep everything in my Asana, but then I make a note here, or then, and it just, again, it does start to feel like that. So every once in a while, when I've got that deep feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll just take a blank sheet of paper and I will write down every single thing that I can think of. I'll go to all the notes and I'll just try to get it all together in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And just that, yeah, maybe the list is a little bit long, but what I notice is when I get it all together in one place is it's not as big as it felt. Yes, it might still be big, but then now, so that's the first part, is it's not as big as I felt. And then the second part is then I can look at it and go, okay, well, the reality is, yes, it may be 50 things long, 20 things long, whatever that is for you. But the things that like have to be done immediately, probably maybe one or two, right? Maybe there's a few more, but it gets more manageable when you kind of get it all together in one place. So that would be my take on that. And then you can prioritize. Yeah, what is important? Do I need to get this done today, or can I push that off until next week, or or can I renegotiate that? Right? I made an agreement that I was going to do that, and it's just not going to happen. It's not right for me anymore, or whatever. Right? And reach out to the customer and say, okay, here's the situation. Be honest quickly, and you can start shuffling things around and juggle it and get feel like you're owning. Because I think it does kind of come back to, we feel overwhelmed because we feel out of control. And so when we can take back that control through doing a couple of little practical things like that, it goes a long way. At least it does for me.
I think too, for a list like that, then it's easy to look at it and say, okay, now there's, 3 or 4 things that, maybe they only need 5 minutes time. I can quick knock those out. And after you've done that, and, even if you knock 1 or 2 out, it gives you that momentum to get going on the rest of it. So seeing that list completely like that, like you said, when stuff feels like it's out of control, then you kind of get that list compiled. You can see now you have control of, okay, what can I do now? But doing some of those tasks that maybe are quick hitters, like we want to call them, and be able to get that momentum started, to get back on track, or to pull that overwhelm out of the works there, and get back going on what you need to do.
Yeah.
Makes
I like that.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so can we go back to that question that you asked, though, Kylene? Ask it one more time, and let's
Yes.
bring ourselves to play here too.
Yeah. So what's the number one thing that you feel overwhelmed about right now?
Becky, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Manifested that one into my life. No, I'm just kidding. I think for me is I have like 3 avenues working for me right now, and they all feel like they're kind of converging and yet not meshing. as well as I want them to. And so when I'm trying to figure out what I'm working on or how I'm going to make it all fit is when I get myself stuck and I'm forcing things. So, in talking to a few people today, the one thing that led for me is when I get to this point, it's like I'm on this verge of something big, something's changing, something's coming. And then I like stop and take a deep breath and hold it and go, oh, nope. And then it's like, okay, nope, 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 so you're fighting it. And I just get overwhelmed with that. So I'm back to I need to get the list going. I need to take my head out of whatever and just really get back to some reality of things and realize that what I'm making up in my brain and what I'm saying to myself in my brain is not reality right now. I've just had a couple things that hit, and of course my language has changed to myself and about some things, and that it just hasn't helped the mindset. So it will be changing. It is changing.
Love
Yeah.
it.
That
That's awesome, Becky.
those
Thank you.
words are changing in my brain.
Good for
So
you. Good
Yeah.
for you. And Becky, just again, I know I said this in a kind of a private thing we had with Masters of Success, but just kudos to you for, being a great example for all of us here. So I think that's really, really awesome.
Well,
Appreciate that very much.
it's been a rough couple of weeks, I think, for myself on the backside. So it's
Yeah.
just this one. When Barb had it last week, it was a good one for us to put out, like Kylan said too, right before the holidays. Whether it's work or not, it gets stressful. I mean, after this coming week, I don't have a free weekend. So, how far do I look ahead to see what I can get done on my free weekend before I don't have a free weekend? So it's trying to manage all that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I like what you said is that it's changing that story you're telling yourself about it in the moment. I think that for me was one of the most powerful things you said. In looking at it, like reframing, okay, everything's coming together. It's kind of coming to a head, not really meshing together, I think is what you said. But at the same time, you're like, I can change the story about it. And therefore, you're more open to how it transpires and what happens as a result instead of forcing it. I think that's huge to have that awareness.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Kylene, are you going next?
Oh boy. Where do I start? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. For me, it's truly having my day job and doing yoga and doing OSG. Yoga and OSG, obviously, that's where I'm headed, and I will eventually be doing full time. But my day job is really important. I do love what I do, and so it like Becky said, it all comes together, right? It's all under my why and my reason. But I'm feeling overwhelmed because of all the quantity of workload. There are a lot of people to serve, and I'm finding overwhelmed with managing my energy, leaving work at work so I can be the person that I'm meant to be. And it's a story I'm telling myself about it. It truly is. So that's kind of where I'm at as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think for both of you, and honestly, when you guys hear my thing, it'll be the same deal, right? It's one thing to, know what the story is, right? And so that's the first step is, okay, if it's a story, we can start changing those stories. But to just go, oh, well, it's a story and it's just going to change. Not true. It becomes a practice. It becomes a daily, right? So what tools work for you? And then just getting back to those as much as you can. But it's that balancing act between, taking action, moving forward, doing, as Becky always says, which I love, doing all the things. But, and then giving yourself grace when it doesn't happen. Right. So it's not, we got to give ourselves grace and just be like, oh, who cares? Whatever. It's give ourselves grace so that we can then take the step again without it being a beating myself up because I didn't do it type thing. Right. So, I think that's really important. So, anything else on that before my turn to share?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, again, I think we're all in a similar boat, but we're telling different versions of the story, right? And it's so amazing to me to really think about this from the reality of it, right? I feel like I'm a very positive person. I work really hard to make sure that, I'm showing up in my best form for others and for myself, really. But this sense of worry, this sense of concern, like, okay, is anybody going to show up, right? Is anybody going to be here on this video tonight? Like, I don't know. Who knows? But if it affects one person, that's fine. I know that consciously, but subconsciously, it's the worry. And interestingly enough, I know exactly where that comes from. So most of you guys know, but if anybody doesn't know, I turned 50 years old this year. So I'm an old man. Oldish, right? I'm only as old as I feel. And I don't feel that old. So, but chronologically, I'm 50 years old. Well, right as we were starting the video, I get an opportunity to go visit my dad tomorrow, who lives about an hour and a half away from us. He's going to watch our dog for us. So I get to go also see him, spend some time lunch with him because I had an open afternoon and I'm an entrepreneur. So I get to make my own schedule. Right. And so at 5:04, he sends me a text message, says, it's going to be super cold and windy tomorrow. So be prepared, drive careful. He's worried about me, a 50-year-old man. He's worried about me. Right. And I love that about him because that's his way of showing that he cares.
Yeah.
But it also is something that drives me absolutely bonkers. Because he's up there in years and it's a little more difficult for him to drive, but he was worried about me driving all the way there in this potential bad weather that he was going to push himself to meet me halfway. And he's like, oh, I can figure it out. I'll do it. I'm like, Dad, no, I'll come there. We'll have lunch. It's fine. I know how to drive in the bad weather. I drove from Kansas City in whiteout snow, and it took 12 hours to do a 5-hour trip. So, anyhow, point being for me, I have to let go of that story for worry, and that's where the overwhelm comes for me. Is in that story of worry.
Yeah, that's huge. But how powerful it is, and you can change that whole experience from that outcome when you start being aware of how you're responding to those triggers you have.
Yep, absolutely.
Go from that.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
So,
yeah.
Well, all right. So I appreciate you guys playing along and allowing me to play along too. If anybody is listening in here right now at live, or if you're somebody that's just catching this in the replay and you'd like to add your comment in here, please do. Please share what's something that makes you feel overwhelmed right now. I think this was the question, Kylie. So
Yep.
all right. Any other questions you want to ask, or should we start getting into some more practical things?
Let's go through some practical things, I think, and then we can come back.
Okay.
Some questions. Yeah.
We're in Kylie's bus.
You're in my world here.
I'm in the back seat, not driving at all.
I love it.
Kylie knows I'm a backseat driver, so I apologize in advance.
It is. That is one thing you are, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm glad you admit it.
Story, so, all right.
Let's talk about practicing time optimization. Aaron is a master at this, but so
You
it's
act like
really,
that's a good thing.
What was that?
You act like being a time optimist. So is this different than being a time optimist? So time optimization is different than being a time optimist.
That's true. So maybe you're not the master at this one.
Aaron, who thinks he can fit 15 things in a 10-minute period. Yeah.
I've got an extra 5 minutes. Let me take on a 2-day project right now.
Right.
Go ahead.
But it's just really learning how to evaluate how you spend your time, and then understanding where that's spent, and then understanding what's important to you. Making the most important thing is really how you can get those things in your life that are meaningful, that create the outcomes that you're wanting for you done first. And then we can kind of let go. But you have to have that awareness. You have to have that knowledge first to really understand. I think there's some things probably we all can say that we know we could probably cut back on a little bit. But understanding, where are we spending our time, and what can we let go of a little bit to make the most important thing the most important thing. I don't know if you guys have any feedback on that one.
Becky, because I do, but
Yes. I mean, again, that comes back to setting our priorities. Aaron always says we don't have a time problem, we have a priority problem. Setting those up for what we need to do. And, I can waste a day not doing the things that I need to do. And then about 4 o'clock, go, crap, I should have done this, done this, done this, done this. And because I didn't have myself prepared or have my priorities set, they didn't happen. So that's where my lists come in. That's where my Trello board comes in to keep me on hand. My planner keeps me in hand. Our Fun 5 every morning that hasn't been happening like it should comes in. So yes.
Good job.
Sorry. I know it's super annoying.
I feel like we have a buzzer happening every time I say the word should.
We need one. Is there a sound effect in here?
I bet there is.
There actually is.
Yes.
Sure.
Anyway.
Would that work?
Probably.
Okay.
That's the only thing those poor people would hear when I was talking. So anyways, no, using all of those tools makes the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just to piggyback on that, because you guys are heading exactly like as Kylene mentioned, right? Sometimes it's just about evaluating a little bit and going, okay, let me be honest with myself. And I think that's the hardest part, is to being honest with yourself about what is true. Because as Becky mentioned, I do like to say a lot of times that we don't have a time management problem. We have a priority management problem, right? Everybody has the exact same 24 hours in the day. Now, not everybody's circumstances are the same, right? So you've got to manage your circumstances the best that you can. But Becky, you talked about that moment where you start getting to that where you're shooting on yourself, right? And we all do that. I'm a master at that activity myself. But it's in those moments where, like, sometimes you go, okay, man, I needed to get these things done today, and it's 4 o'clock, but somehow you still manage to like knock out a couple. Right. And I think that's where my time optimization comes from. Not optimization like in a good way, but like I think I can do more than I expect. But the reality is, the things that need to get done, we get them done. Right? Like if you're trying to get something done and you've been procrastinating, you've been putting it off, and it just has to be done for your business, for your customer, for whatever, you figure out a way. Maybe you do pull an all-nighter, but you figure out a way, right? Because the flip side of that is also true. Like, okay, if I ever have an experience where I go, I just don't have enough time, like I'm too busy. Well, you know what? Somehow I figured out how to have enough time to binge watch the entire season of Face Off on Netflix the other day. I don't know if you guys ever even heard of that. I hadn't. And then somehow all of a sudden, season 8, I know everything that happened because I've watched every freaking episode. Thank you, Netflix. But, so the reality is we've got time. We just have to be honest with ourselves and be willing to go find where we can borrow a little bit of that time back to get to the priority things. And then realize that you can get more accomplished than you understand in a shorter amount of time when you're focused, when you say, okay, I got to. It's like you push yourself, you paint yourself into that corner where you're going to fight your way out. It's not always a great place to be doing every single activity from that place of having to fight your way out. So you can be proactive, prioritize a little bit better. And then when you get the things accomplished, then you can use some of those guilty pleasures, the binging a Netflix show for me or whatever the case may be for you guys out there, as a treat, as a reward for, actively getting the priority projects done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can create I know for me personally, create some habits and some stories around those habits that, it's been a long day. I just need to sit here for a minute and watch something mindless. Well, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, how long do I want to stay in that place before I go back to the most important thing? So that's where the honesty comes in, and not shitting on ourselves, like you guys said, and blaming ourselves and criticizing ourselves for anything. We made a choice at that time. We can just choose to make a different one moving forward to get more of those outcomes. So, yep.
Our couch is just so comfortable, though, Kylie. Once
It's
my butt's on it, it's hard to get it out.
It's just,
We have one of those in our house too. I'm not really sure how it works, but
Kylie
Sexy
doesn't even
man.
think our couch is comfortable, but yet
But it
she's
keeps me there. It does. Yeah.
Netflix needs to ask if I've changed the laundry or something instead of "Are you still watching?"
Good
I
point.
love it.
Good
That's
point.
hilarious.
All right, Kayleen, where's the bus heading now?
Okay. All right. So this is a big one. We probably could have a whole show on this one, but it's learning to say no. When we're feeling overwhelmed, maybe we've overcommitted ourselves a little bit to things that maybe now was not the right time. So just understanding that when people keep coming at you, just, it's not being rude to just say, no, I can't do that right now, but maybe you could in the future. It's just setting those healthy boundaries for yourself, so you can have more success in the things that are important to you, and better relationships. When you have those boundaries, there's more respect that's happening between you and understanding. So it's really communicating that as well.
Yeah. Well, if I can just add to that too, really quick,
Mhm.
because sometimes some of the biggest distractions are the things that seem like really good opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? And in the moment, you want to say yes to it because, oh, that sounds like a pretty good opportunity. But you end up finding out later on that, yes, while that's a good opportunity, it's distracting you from your most important thing. And so it's finding that ability to say, okay, let me just slow down. Let me have some strategies to be able to make sure that I'm going deep enough to say, is this really important for me to say yes to? Right.
Yeah.
And you're the only one that can decide that. And so whatever you say yes to is totally fine. And in fact, it's probably very important if you've said yes to it. Just understand that you're also the same person. It's the only one that can manage your time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of that double-edged sword a little bit, right? You have to understand what to turn away and be okay with what you've taken on. But at the same time, you also have to be the one that says, okay, I'm doing too much. The renegotiation process is probably the most difficult for people, right? We're just going to hunker down and figure it out. But sometimes it's better to just say, you know what, I messed up. Sorry, I took this on, just couldn't. And, I apologize for letting you down. Hopefully I get another chance in the future. But right now I just have to step away.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I've learned in the last couple of years is that no is a complete sentence. That is not something I knew or realized prior to that. But it really is. You can say no, and you don't overly have to explain yourself. You can just say, that is not right for me. It is not going to work for me. So my answer is no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
sorry, to kind of talk about that a little bit more too. I'm curious for both of you guys, because I know I have. If you had that experience where you've said no and then you talked yourself out of it because you didn't make it a complete sentence. You said no and then you ended up saying yes because you kept talking. Have you guys ever experienced that?
Yeah, but not so much since I've learned that it's a complete sentence.
Okay.
I mean, and I think for me, saying no meant I was missing an opportunity for an order. Or, what if I don't take this order? There won't be another one coming.
Yeah.
Well, along with that, I've learned that that's not true either. I've built my business to the point where there is orders coming, and it will happen. So by saying no, it allows me to have the opportunity for better instead of good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But is it say no to the good and yes to the great? Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the good.
Can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it didn't sound quite right.
But I love all those little one-liners.
Yep.
So I try to remember them as best I can.
And I make my own little variation of them.
Yeah.
It works.
But how do we say Mazda again? Oh, that was Lewis's own variation.
Mazda, he goes, look at that fancy Mazda.
It's a very fancy car. It's a Mazda. Sorry, Lewis. Love you, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, just real quick. Yeah, we're doing okay on time, but maybe we probably just have to hit a couple more, maybe ask a couple more questions, see if anybody that's in the chat here has anything that they'd like to talk about when it comes to overwhelm and how they deal with it, or a question about something that they're dealing with that is overwhelming. Maybe this is just a good opportunity to talk through that. So I know I'm trying to grab the wheel of the bus here, but
Yeah, I mean, I just think, a good question is just, thinking about when you're feeling overwhelmed, share with us what helps you kind of take that control back. What helps you in that moment to get back focused, because we all eventually get there, right? And we all have different tools that we're using to help us get there. We're just talking about some that we know about, but there could be more out there, or there could be like the rule of five, or the fun five, as Becky likes to call it. That's a huge tool, and just sharing that might really help one of you guys out there too. So please share if there's something that helps you kind of regain that control again.
Yeah. Kylie, what is it for you?
Oh boy. For me, it's slowing down and writing down my list. This little week priority thing that you created. Now, sometimes it takes me 2 weeks to get through my list on there, but it's really helped just to kind of put things into one place, and I can visually see it, and therefore it's out of here and onto here. I've been having a hard time falling asleep at night because I start thinking about all the things I have to do at work. And I finally, Aaron, I don't know, was surprised, I think. But normally I just think about it and lay in bed. But I finally woke up on Sunday and actually did something about it and wrote it out, got a couple things done, and then I went back to bed and actually slept. So the things like that really help as well. And then movement. Yoga has allowed me to reset and recenter again and get back to me. So I feel like yoga is probably my biggest tool that I'm using.
Cool.
Yeah.
Becky, what's your go-to?
Definitely the lists first and foremost, because if I can get it out of my brain and on a sheet of paper, I don't have to continue to hold on to it. That helps. Tapping. We've used tapping. I've been kind of lax on it lately. And so I believe that is something that has helped in the past. I just need to make sure that I use that tool and come back to it, and just really keeping that mindset. We can't be negative if we're grateful. That's the part I've also learned, is that you can't have one without the, you can't have the negativity if you're grateful. So if you stay in a mode of gratitude and can keep that in the forefront, you can keep the negativity away. And that has really changed for me, has really helped change my mindset.
That's huge. Yeah.
Awesome.
How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, the clear the decks idea, what I kind of said first, getting back to where just kind of getting everything organized, being a left-handed Virgo. I don't know if that means anything to anybody else, but that just means I'm kind of anal, right? I have to have my ducks in a row. And when I can feel like I've at least got them in the same playpen, then I feel a lot better. That overwhelm tends to melt away pretty quickly. And then I guess the other thing I'd add to the whole thing is, and I know it can be annoying for Kylene sometimes, but I have my why pasted everywhere. And I've found that that's just a reminder that, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can look at that and it goes, oh, yep. Now I know why there's so many things on top of me, because I've got this mission that I'm on. And, every good mission, every good hero's journey is going to have some challenges to it. It's going to have some, you got to fight off the bad guys. You got to learn something new. You got to fall down and skin your knee. So, I think that's what overwhelm is an opportunity for us to learn a better way.
Yep. Yeah, it's huge. The other thing I think is really important, and I'm probably going to blend a couple things together, but it's seeking that support and with the people that are going to encourage and lift you up as you go through. And that's where for me, it's, the Masters of Success group. It's so powerful. You just gain different perspective. You're also able to, when you have your group, you're able just to express where you're at, and it's a safe place. So I think knowing that there's support out there, being willing to ask it, is so powerful, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. I don't know if you guys have any takes on that one.
I completely agree that, the Masters of Success, any kind of group like that, or just supported friends that you can talk to, whatever works for you, but having that support system in place, and a safe support system that you can, discuss how things are going and feel open and honest with that part, makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love it.
How about you?
I think you guys covered it. I don't think there's anything different for me in that. You guys need to mark this down one time that I didn't have anything to add. So.
Aaron is at a loss for words. What time is it?
I don't know if it's that,
but I don't think I've ever been at a loss for words. You're right. No, you guys just covered it very well. Well, I wanted to take, I know, Kylene, I'm grabbing the wheel one more time here, but okay. I wanted to take a quick second and just, Becky mentioned how folks had put the story out there, the press releases and whatnot about the Summit of Success. And I think these things tie together a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about it really quickly because so I kind of got, I don't know, for lack of a better term, interviewed about it by one of my friends, Cassie over at Apparelist, had asked some kind of follow-up stuff, and I had a chance to respond to that. And one thing I've noticed in this 25 plus years being around small business owners is we don't always do a great job of kind of backing away from it, recharging, slowing down, right? Like we got to grind all the time. I'm certain that this hustle and grind culture is doing of the devil. I'm just kidding about that. But I think that it can be very detrimental to a business owner's success if it's always about working in the business every single moment. And I just have to work harder and harder and harder. Okay. I've seen from the people that I've gotten to work with and in my own business, the more I slow down, the better I do. And the more progress I actually make. And we've seen it with people in Masters of Success, right? Some of the comments that Kylene, you got from talking to like Sandy and Michelle, for example, was just about how kind of realizing that when they backed up from it, slowed down, took some, we spend 90 minutes together twice a month. And, so that's a decent time commitment. But in those 90 minutes, I've seen so much growth out of that time that when they get back to working in their business, right? Becky, you're part of that. Kylene, we all are part of that. So anyhow, my point being, how, Becky, as you are thinking about some of the success, what you pulled together here, how we're kind of looking at it as a whole, how do you see overwhelm playing out? Managing or overcoming overwhelm playing out if you're somebody willing to invest in yourself and meet us at Summit of Success?
Well, the Summit of Success is going to be that reset that if you're overwhelmed, you're going to get that reset and you're going to get that recharge. For me, that, talking about slowing down to see that bigger picture, it's all about being intentional. If we're intentional with our time, if we're intentional with what we're doing, even though it might look like we're pulling back and slowing down and not doing this stuff, we're intentional. That means the things that need to be done are getting done. That means that things are moving forward more than you realize. So the sum of success is going to be there for us to be intentional. You're going to be intentional with your business. You're going to be intentional with yourself. you won't have the distractions where it's quote unquote all inclusive. We're going to feed you. We have room and board. We have everything there for you. The fact that we can stay in this amazing lodge and connect without the distractions, to me, that alone will be huge, let alone getting all of the business information and training and learning and everything else that's going to come with it. Again, back to the intentional side. And recharging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually even said to Cassie, right, as business owners, when do we ever have a situation where we don't have to worry about anything? We don't have to make a decision. We don't have to do anything but just be ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that hardly ever happens for a business owner. Right? And so this is going to be, 3 days and 2 nights of you not having to do anything but be yourself.
Yep.
And I just, that thought of that refreshment of it and being around people that's what our intention is going to be. I love that you brought up. In fact, I think we should market. This is probably the longest we've ever gone in a Rising Tide Talks and not said the word intentional until now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kylie, anything else about Summit of Success real quick before we dive back in and maybe hit a couple more points and before we close up?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that it's that power and that connection. So we talked, you guys mentioned how powerful it is to just disconnect from everything else, to just truly focus on yourself, on your business, and just recharging. But when you're with those other people in that transformative event, it is so powerful, and the changes that it'll make in your life it's just amazing. I mean, we had the one here in St. Louis. Was that in June?
It was in June. Yep.
June. That one wasn't all inclusive, but it was still transformational. So knowing that we're going to be together without any of those extra worries, it's just going to be even more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm curious who's going to be our first taker. So if you let me know, and I can't remember even, I'll have to go back and listen because I will go back and listen, but I know I promised something. So
I don't think
you
you ever
promised something. You didn't say what.
Okay. That's why I couldn't remember what it was because I didn't say what it was.
Yeah.
But it'll be worth your being the first one to jump in. So we're going to treat everybody like VIPs, but I'm just curious because here's what the other thing that I know is success is for action takers, right? I've seen Jack Canfield do this and other people where they'll talk about, they've got a $20 bill or 100, Jack Canfield's got a lot of money. So normally I think he uses a $100 bill and he's like, who wants this? Everybody raises their hand and finally somebody gets out of their chair, walks up and grabs it out of his hand and they get to keep it. Right. And so that's what I'm looking for. Who's the one that's going to actually get out of their chair, come say, yes, I want this. I'm willing to invest in myself and, keep the $100 bill.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I'm not Jack Canfield rich yet. So we'll, maybe it'll be a $20 bill, but no.
I love it. No, I love it. And I think with all of this, it's really, it is the intentional, but it's being in the moment and then taking that time to review and reflect, assess where you're at, the progress you've made, celebrate. And that's really going to help create those strategies for you to know what things you have in place that's working and maybe what you can let go of as you look at these busy times. Just taking a few minutes just to reflect is really powerful.
Yeah.
I think along with that, though, is taking that time to celebrate is also the goals and the dream, to take that time to dream and set those goals for, they may look lofty. They may look, I actually came across the note at the back of my planner for the year. I had some lofty goals. 1 I hit, 2 are nowhere close.
That's right.
But it was interesting to see that because I'd put it back there to find later.
Yeah.
It was just interesting. So
yeah. But when you hit, right? I mean, that's, I think that's the other part of it. Like the one you hit is the most important part. And the ones that maybe aren't close yet, you're probably closer than you would have been if you didn't set that goal. Right.
Yep.
Michelangelo's quote is one of my favorites where he says, it's the greatest danger for us is not in setting a goal too high and missing it, but it's in setting the goal too low and reaching it,
Mhm.
because we limit ourselves with that. So
Very much
love
so.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that goes with that is it doesn't cost any more to dream bigger.
To dream a big dream than it does a small
Yeah.
dream. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's
Sorry,
a good,
didn't mean to go over your variation there, Kylie.
just another example right here.
I love it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
do we have time for maybe one more practical way to overcome overwhelm here? I know we haven't had a lot of folks in the comments here, but so if you are sitting there in the comments, let us know. Like, we're just talking what we think, but we're happy to, get your take on this, or hear what you want to talk about specifically as it comes to, if you're experiencing any overwhelm, or what you do to help regain control, et cetera, et cetera. But do you guys think we have time for at least one more practical idea here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Kylene, I'll give the
Yeah.
wheel back over to you here.
All right. I'm just trying to see. I'm debating between two of them, but delegating, I think that's a hard one for us when we feel overwhelmed. I think it's that control that we're already feeling like we don't have, and then to the idea of letting go of some tasks that seems even more scary. So it's trusting others to handle some of your tasks, that maybe you don't have to do everything. And so delegating is something that can really allow you to grow your business so much faster when you can let go of those things that really doesn't match your purpose, or maybe it's not your the thing you want to be doing. I know, Becky, you've done this, and you've seen the power of it.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm still struggling because what she's talking about is letting go of my accounting and letting somebody else do it. However, I'm like still thinking I can do the sales tax. It doesn't, I mean, I don't need to pay that $75 or whatever it is a month to have her do this 5-minute sales tax thing. And you know what? I'm pretty much ready to just pay that $75 and let her do it, because it's just one more thing that I have to worry about. And if I just have her do it, then I know it's done right, because of course she sent a report. I got it. I went to do it 5 minutes before I'm trying to leave for an appointment. And I have a question because I've something on there that I've not seen before. So I'm questioning it, because that's who I am. I question my stuff because I want to understand it.
Yeah.
So
you're a learner.
Yeah, but there again, if I wouldn't have gotten that and she would have just taken care of it, not that I shouldn't understand what's happening, because I still want to understand my book work, and I still want to understand my sales tax, and I still want to know the things, but I don't have to control it. And that's where I'm like, okay, we're going to get through this little spot here, and it's going to go out the door, because it doesn't serve me to have to control that.
Yeah.
I want to understand it. I want to see the reports when it's done. I want to know when it's filed and all the things. But I don't have to control it to be the one doing it. And that's where I'm learning to let go of that part. So.
That's awesome. Well, and Becky, I think the other thing that you're recognizing in all this, right? Yes, it could be, to be something that takes you 5 minutes, but it's not just that 5 minutes of actual time, right? It's the time to switch into that. It's the time to gather the information. It's the time that you've been worrying about getting that done. Oh, I haven't had time to put that on my list, right? And so you've had that worry so all that stuff adds up. Mm-hmm. And like you said, $75, you could have probably made double, triple that in that energy that you used for that thing. Yep. Right. And again, it doesn't mean that you don't want to be in control. It doesn't mean that you don't want to manage, learn, understand. But when you do that in a different space where you've let go of the control, but you still maintain, you're the manager, right? You're the owner of the business. So it's all under your umbrella, and you have the right to ask about anything where you have somebody else involved in it. But at the same time, it's, when you have to be the one that then also manages that too, it's the cost of the energy, not the cost of the 5 minutes. So stop trading, dollars for hours, and understand that what you're really doing is trading energy for, those dollars.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's huge.
That's good. That's really good. And delegation is definitely one of those things that is really hard because as business owners, you've already raised your hand and said, hey, I am somebody willing to do the hard things, willing to do things outside of my comfort zone, willing to take on everything, right? You have to be industrious. You have to be willing to do that. So when it then comes time to delegate, it's very difficult because that seems to rub up against those two things. But the reality is you're delegating, and so you're actually showing that you're even more industrious. You're even more willing to do things outside of your comfort zone because you're giving up control and things like that. And so it's not either or, it's actually both. And so you can kind of understand from that side of it that delegating is really important.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
It's huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm again standing here, mirror in my face. So you guys
Yeah.
don't think that because I
I think we all are.
yeah.
Yeah.
My preaching does not mean that I'm not talking to myself. So, all right. Anything else that we want to cover, Becky? Anything that we missed here today?
No, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things. I actually found a mastering time management little graphic. I'm going to go throw that in the group a little later, but it was
Cool.
just kind of a few things. Actually, they have 20 different things on there, but it was just kind of played into this tonight too. And so I'll get that over in the group for us to
All right.
to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Kylene, what takeaways were we hoping for here today on your trip?
To bring in our word, really truly managing our overwhelm, it starts with being intentional. Having those actions that we bring into our life, doing it with meaning, and understanding why you're doing it. And then focusing on the most important thing, focus on what matters. Have your clear boundaries, understanding when no needs to be that complete sentence. And then just give yourself that time to reset, step back, reflect. And then that's where the growth and awareness happens.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you that were able to tune in live, you were a quiet bunch tonight. So I just maybe sending out a little SOS to you guys that everybody okay. But make sure that you're sharing this with your friends. I wanted to go. I went and made a comment on YouTube, and I do really believe this. I wasn't just saying this to say it. That I felt like we did a really good job, and this was really good information, and felt like it came across really well. But just want to make sure YouTube was actually working, and so it was. But if you guys will go to liveosg.com and make sure to subscribe. I'm going to go check and see if there was something that I did in setting this up. We are using a new system here, and so I never know if maybe people just didn't see it, but go to liveosg.com and make sure that you're subscribed over there, and you should get a notification when we are going live for Rising Tide Talks and Small Business Saturdays and anything else that we do through the OSG community and beyond. So
Cool.
And then one last reminder for you guys, Summit of Success. You don't want to be the one person that's calling us and going, oh, do you just have one more room? Sorry, we don't. Right. So don't be that person. You want to be there. Give yourself an early Christmas gift, right? Whatever you need to do, make this happen. This is going to be the best investment that you make in 2025.
I'm pretty sure training is write-off, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep.
You'll get a receipt.
Yeah.
Write it off. There you go.
Yep, absolutely.
Talk to your accountant, but yes, I'm 99.9% sure you can write it off. So,
Good point, Becky.
Very good point.
Yep.
All right. Well, how should we close up, you guys? Becky, any closing thoughts for you?
I'm just grateful for everybody that is here, that comes and meets us where we're at each week. I just want to say the power of community, our group. I'll get some stuff posted over there, but we're all in it together. The sharing, the networking, the learning from each other. It's just that's the part that fills me up. That's what I love about every 2 weeks, every other week when we meet for our Masters of Success. It just we bring that energy together. Aaron's line of a rising tide lifts all boat is so true. We just want you guys to engage in, and don't hesitate to engage over in the group. Ask some questions, answer some questions. We can all learn from each other and use that space to grow together. So
there you go. Love it. Thank you, Becky. Kylene, any closing thoughts for you?
Just keep believing in yourself and pausing for a moment and take a deep breath as you go through this busy time of year. And so you can be present and have more outcomes and more success, more joy.
Awesome. All right. Well, my only closing thought, I mean, just like I said, I think you guys did a fantastic job. I think we should give ourselves a round of applause. We did a good job sharing tonight. So looking forward to next week. But in the meantime, catch us over in the group. We need more of you guys to be active in there. Just again, a rising tide lifts all boats, and my little boat's paddling as fast as I can. So come on in. The water's nice. All right, everybody. Well, you guys have a great Wednesday night, and we will talk to everybody again. Not next Wednesday, though.
Right.
We are
Correct.
taking,
Yeah.
because it's the day before Thanksgiving, we're spending some time with our families. So hopefully you guys are doing the same. We will be doing Small Business Saturday this Saturday. Not sure of the time yet because we've got volleyball, so maybe a little earlier than normal, but just stay tuned and reach out if you have a question and you want to join us for Small Business Saturday. We're going to be talking about gratitude. And then the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is I don't know what I call the big Small Business Saturday, right? Honestly, it was the reason that I wanted to do it on Saturdays, because I was like, you know what? Why do small businesses only get one Saturday? Let's make it every Saturday. So this is the big one, though. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. We may spotlight somebody. We may highlight somebody. We're definitely going to do a giveaway of some sort. So we will definitely be having Small Business Saturdays on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So,
Awesome.
sure that you guys
Fantastic.
are subscribed over there at liveosg.com. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, and wish you guys a wonderful holiday.
Absolutely.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Maybe. The button's not pushing. Okay.